very touched, Raven. Skylar was so kind.
Oh, he's a sweetheart, didn't you know that?
Still, he made me feel so welcome here. I must admit I was a bit concerned, since the invitation did come from you alone.
Well, it was his idea, too. Look, you just have to forget about that little brat you used to know, the old Sky Whitney. This is a brand new version.
Still, I felt a little guilty about intruding on you two newlyweds.
Oh, but you're helping our marriage. That man of mine leaves here at the crack of dawn. He doesn't come home till 8 or 9 o'clock. Believe me, I'm glad you're here.
Yes, he did say he was appreciative to have me around to keep you company. But you should be with young friends, too, Raven. There was a time when you were so close to April Scott.
Well, she went abroad. She'll probably have her baby overseas. And I'll have no one to talk to and no one to get advice from.
When we were living together, you never seemed very interested in my advice.
Well, I always wanted to hear it.
As opposed to following it.
Come on, you've always been more of a mother to me than Nadine. I need you here, I really do. Now that I'm married, I have so many more decisions to make. As a matter of fact, I have a very important decision to make right now.
And what would that be?
Please help me with this. Say you will.
Yeah, I'll do anything I can to help.
I can't make up my mind. I just don't know which car I want to buy. I don't know if I want the Mercedes, the Rolls Royce, the Cadillac, or one of these sports cars.
Is that your idea of a joke, Mr. Whitney? You want Gavin Wiley to kill me?
Oh, he'd gladly do it, Gunther. You know, he hasn't forgotten about what you did to him in the alley back in New York.
Oh, pardon me if I don't die laughing.
Oh, yeah. See, you just didn't break his leg, Gunther. I mean, you ruined his whole career. He could never dance again. He'd love to get even.
If you're thinking of turning him on me, Mr. Whitney...
No. You're not following me, Gunther. You see, we were talking about the problem of Gavin Wiley. Wouldn't this solve it?
Well, what about my problem?
No, you're misunderstanding me, Gunther. What I'm talking about is this. What if Gavin thought that he killed you? See, I got the idea when you reminded me about that gun that Gavin was bragging that he had, and I began to wonder whether he could ever use it.
Well, he won't get a chance. I'll wrap that little toy right around his neck.
Yeah, but what if he did use it, Gunther? What if he used that gun to shoot you dead?
Yeah, nothing like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but what if something like that did happen, huh? We can get him to use that gun. I know we can. He's got every reason in the world to hate you, Gunther, and to fear you.
The hate is mutual, Mr. Whitney.
Hey, it's not just the broken leg. I mean, he would have sent you to prison if he could, but he didn't have any proof. It's also Jody Travis, his little girlfriend.
Look, I never laid a hand on her.
But not for lack of trying, Gunther. See, he's no longer just her dance teacher. He's her lover. He's crazy about it. That's the reason he threw the drink in your face.
Yeah, well, that's one he's gonna have to pay for, too.
That's right. We can both make him pay. And he can pay you very well.
Look, getting killed is not my idea of a payoff.
No. I'm talking about a joke, Gunther. A practical joke, yes. Very practical. You see, it'll make Gavin Wiley disappear. He'll be gone like last winter's snow, and Jody Travis will be here all by herself.
I still don't get it.
We stage it, Gunther. We stage the whole thing. Lord, if I can stage a ballet, I can stage a little two-character, one-act play.
Oh, I'm listening.
What we do is we create a situation in which he's got to use the gun. You see, he uses the gun to kill you, but what he doesn't know is it's loaded with blanks.
Oh, you mean we fool him into thinking he killed me?
All it requires is a little acting, Gunther, and I can teach you anything you need to know.
Well, just forget the acting. Just teach me how to put the blanks in the guy's gun.
Did you find out where he keeps it? We get into the dance studio and he's not there, and we make the old switcheroo.
Oh, just like that.
Well, listen, Gunther, if you don't think you can manage it,
Well, now, wait, I didn't say that. I mean, hell, I can pick that door with a soft toothpick. I mean, that's the easy part.
Now, the easy part is going to be inciting him into using the gun. I mean, anybody who's got a loaded weapon around is just dying to use it.
And, how does all this help you? I mean, how do you know Wiley's going to run off just after the gun goes off?
I'll be there. I'll help him to run away, my old friend Gavin, if he needs to avoid a life sentence in prison. Oh, yes.
And what do I get out of it?
Well, Gunther, you'll be gone.
What?
See, your body will have vanished, and it will suddenly reappear in some tropical island where you can spend a few months or the rest of your life on some golden beach, surrounded by some golden girls. Huh? That's your dream, isn't it? That's what you've always told me.
Yeah, it would be my dream if I could afford it.
Ah, but you will be able to afford it, Gunther. You see, you'll have all the money you need, all the money you could ever want.
I see. So Wiley thinks I'm dead and he keeps on running?
That's right. Far, far away from his little dancing partner.
And Jody Travis, she comes back to you. Is that what you think?
Never mind what I think, Gunther. What do you think? Does the idea appeal to you?
I think I'd have to think it a little bit more. I think I'd have to think about it very hard.
When they found him about 2 months after the crash, he told both the authorities and the press that Jefferson Brown was dead and buried in the snow.
And you didn't believe him?
I didn't believe him then, and I don't believe him now.
Why not? The man swears he saw the body of his friend in the snow with his neck broken, yet the wreckage of the plane and the body disappeared into a crevice.
Look, people can lie, and people like Schuyler Whitney lie all the time when it suits their purposes.
But why would he lie?
I don't know. If Brown was his friend, then Whitney knew what kind of a guy he was. He certainly knows that he was a thief and a traitor.
You know, I hate to have to say this, but from everything that I've seen, you're the only one who thinks Jefferson Brown stole those State Department documents and not your father.
I'm not the only one. There's another person. William Harwood, Senator Harwood, my father's best friend.
Senator Harwood? He's a friend of the police commissioner, isn't he? I know he is. That's where the pressure came from. That's how you wound up in this department.
Okay, throw me out if you want.
Not gonna throw you out. I just gave you my season pass, didn't I?
I'm sorry. I guess I'm very sensitive about this subject.
Harwood. All right, I can't blame you for being sensitive. I can imagine how much you want to clear your father's name, but you're putting all your eggs in one basket. You're putting everything on Sky Whitney.
Sky Whitney knows what happened to Jefferson Brown. All I have to do is make him reveal the truth somehow.
Somehow, that's the operative word, all right. How?
I don't know yet.
By talking to all his friends or all his enemies, by trying to find Collier Wells? I don't understand that. Just because Collier Wells robbed his Paris apartment?
Look, Sky Whitney made a deal with Collier Wells. That's why Wells is still on the loose. Chief, I know I haven't gotten very far, but I'm not shirking my duties.
I didn't say you were. You're a good cop. You and Calvin, you're my best cops.
Well, that sounds like a compliment.
If you're going to take it like that, forget I said it.
Look, Chief, I'm not going to let you down if that's what you're thinking. I mean, after all, this is my career.
Well, then why don't we drink to your career?
Why not?
Well, I do admit, not every marriage starts with burglary.
And a homicide, my dear.
Oh, please don't bring that up. You know, I actually met that man, Romeo Slater. I should say he met me deliberately so he could get the keys to my house. And I remember thinking, what a nice man. Shows what a great judge of character I am.
Well, Raven, I think we're all inclined to overestimate our abilities to judge character. I've made some grave mistakes in my time.
Yes, but you can get to know someone. That is, if the person is trusting enough to be completely honest with you.
If anyone ever is completely honest.
My husband is with me. You wouldn't believe some of the things he's told me. Well, I mean, we've just gotten very close lately, you know. We understand each other.
I'm glad to hear that.
We're just alike. He wants exactly what I want.
And apparently he has everything you want and more.
Yes, that's right. And that's exactly why this is going to be the most wonderful marriage I have ever had. Oh, I have a
wonderful idea.
What's that?
Why don't we just forget about packing for tonight and follow Jody's example? An early bedtime.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
We can just lie in bed and watch television and think about what life's going to be like in the penthouse.
I know exactly what life is going to be like in the penthouse. We're going to lie in bed and we're going to watch television. And when the time is right, put your finger there. We will turn out the lights and we will be in our own private world, just the way we are here.
Oh.
Can you get out?
I think so. Well, that is something that I never want to change. You know something?
What?
We don't know how Jody feels about this move.
Oh, she's happy being with us, I think. Doesn't matter where.
Happy is not the descriptive word for Jody right now. Well, she's been through such a bad time, hasn't she? Been so torn about this dance company.
She's not torn any longer. She finally made up her mind, at least.
Do you think Sky Whitney really believes that she wants to quit?
He heard it from her own lips, didn't he? What more does he need?
Yes, but he's such a persistent man. He won't let anything stand in his way.
I'll tell you, I think he finally met his match. Not in Jody, particularly, but in Gavin. Gavin's got Jody under his spell in the nicest way possible.
I think you're right. You know what I was most relieved about tonight?
What?
The fact that he didn't bring Gunther with him.
Gunther was probably right outside at the wheel.
Can you imagine if that man walked in through that front door with you and Gavin here? There most certainly would have been fireworks.
I was a little worried about what Whitney told us. Gavin had thrown that drink in Gunther's face.
It's better than a punch. No pun intended.
Well, I don't even know about that. An oddball like Gunther is likely to think that a punch in the nose is less of an insult than a drink thrown in the face.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I just hope that Gavin has enough sense to stay away from him from now on.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to have heard that same advice somewhere before.
Well, it goes just as much for you as it does for Gavin.
Oh, listen, don't have to worry. I'm not the hot-headed type, you know.
Yes, but Gavin Wiley I'm not so sure about.
Well, why don't we stop worrying about the future? It has a way of taking care of itself. Let's say you and I go to bed, huh? Well, just make our way through the rubble.
Oh, Miles, I'm gonna miss this house.
Still have time to change your mind, you know.
No, it's time for a change. Besides, the house will always be with me anyway. Stored away with all the good memories. Most of them leaves.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? You'd like to get me away on a tropical island for a few months, maybe forever. You don't like having me around much, do you?
Why, Gunther, how can you say such a thing? You've been such a good and faithful servant throughout the years.
Yeah, I was good and faithful. What did it get me?
You were more than well paid for your faithfulness.
I don't think it hurt your pocketbook any.
You've got an awfully short memory, Gunther. When I first picked you up, you were going down the tubes. I gave you a job when nobody would give you anything but a stretch in jail. I gave you a uniform to wear when you didn't even have a suit of clothes.
Yeah, well, it was all her fault, Roxanne's. Crazy woman. I spent every dime I had for her care, and they still came and threw a net over her.
Yeah. Well, you've been more than well paid for your faithfulness, Gunther, but that obviously wasn't enough. You had to become a blackmailer, too.
Listen, baby. I became a blackmailer because you decided to become a wife killer.
Get up, damn it. My wife is in this house.
Yeah, well, just don't try any of that holier-than-thou stuff on me. Yeah, sure, you know me all right. And I sure as hell know you, too.
You haven't answered my question, Gunther. You want money. You need money. This can get you all the money that you do need.
How much?
You tell me.
Oh, good, you're still home. Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. I don't have to ask how you are. You look terrific.
I just had a real nice talk with Geraldine. Gunther, could you go get me some coffee? No, I don't want coffee. It's too late. How about some hot chocolate and cake?
Yes, Mrs. Whitney. I'll have Chrissy make up a tray for you.
So, how is dear old Aunt Geraldine?
Well, she looks pretty good. I think she should be up and about by tomorrow. Isn't she amazing?
Yes. Well, women are amazing. They're always surprising.
Well, I hope this doesn't surprise you too much, but guess what we were talking about?
Me?
Well, about us and about her and about the house and... Sky, how would you feel if Geraldine lived with us? I mean, all the time?
Well, you know how I feel about Geraldine. I mean, I adore her, but Raven, you are the mistress of the house.
Well, you know how I feel about her. I lived in this house with her for years when I first came to Monticello, and she was wonderful to me. She was more maternal to me than my own mother.
Well, actually, you don't have to argue too hard, Raven, because I've had the same idea.
You have?
Mm-hmm. I've thought about you being here at home and me being gone so much, and, well, I know that you love shopping and going out to lunch with the girls and things, but you can only do that so much, and I was concerned about you being here alone.
You do understand. And I would love to have Geraldine around here. I mean, she's so level-headed, and you know me, I need somebody like that around.
Have you spoken to her about it yet?
Well, not yet, but if you agree to it, I'll tell her first thing tomorrow morning.
I've got a better idea. Why don't we both talk to her about it? That way she'll know that we both mean it.
You are wonderful. Guess what I've been telling her about you?
What?
Well, that you're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But also that she should just forget about the Sky that she used to know because you're much better than the old Sky Whitney. Oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to just call you darling.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, Mr. Whitney.
Where's my food? I'm starving.
Well, Chrissy's still fixing the tray, but I need to tell Mr. Whitney something.
What is it, Gunther?
That phone call from your business associate, Mr. W.
What about it?
Well, Mr. W. told me to tell you that he's thought over your proposition. And he's definitely interested. In fact, he says he wants to make a deal for $500,000 in cash. And he wants to know what your answer is.
Well, Gunther, you can tell Mr. W. that, it's a deal.
Yes, sir.
I hope you don't mind the tape recorder, Valerie, but this way it makes it easier for us to chat. And I won't forget any important quotes.
Well, I don't know how many of those you're going to be getting.
Oh, now just try and relax.
Okay. It's just hard to talk about myself.
Well, even without your connection to your father's clinic in Lucerne, you still have a very touching human interest story to tell. So would you like to begin?
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
It was the summer of 1978. Several summers prior to that time, I had spent either traveling or with friends. But that July and August were set aside for me to be in Lucerne. There weren't very many patients at my father's clinic that summer, but Daddy did introduce me to Jim.
And how did you react to him when you first met him?
Well, it wasn't exactly love at first sight. He had bandages all over his face. And he was very withdrawn at first. Actually, the first couple of days, I could hardly get him to say much at all. And then, little by little, he came out of his shell. And we'd talk about things that we liked and didn't like. And we found we had a lot in common. We liked the same books and the same authors. Oh, he would quote from Browning and Keats and Shelley. I had never really liked poetry in school, but he made me love it. And anyway, in a couple of weeks, I guess he just felt close enough to me to tell me what happened to him in Vietnam during the war.
These memories are very painful for me, Val.
Well, you don't have to do this now if you don't want to.
No. I want you to know how it happened. By the time I got to Nam, the fighting was pretty well winding down.
But there were still small pockets of resistance, and my company, Charlie Company, we were assigned to a mop-up operation. Actually, it was more like search and destroy. And we were in the Mekong Delta in a rice paddy one day on patrol. And all of a sudden there were these popping sounds all around us. And guys started dropping all around me. And the thing was, we were in the open. There was very, very little cover. And we returned fire as best we could. And we finally managed to find an old abandoned hut. And we retreated to it. And by that time, though, most of the guys were pretty badly shot up. The radio was gone. So they couldn't call for medical assistance or anything. So my company commander, Pete Harmon, and I, we were assigned to go out and find some help.
But you were still in enemy territory?
And we got about, must have been 2 miles or so, and we ran into some sniper fire. And we returned it as best we could. But Pete caught a shell in the leg and dragged him off to one side and returned fire for a while. And then when things quieted down, I kind of half dragged, half carried him for as long as I could. And then I couldn't do it anymore, and he was losing blood. So I found a tree, and we tried to camouflage ourselves as best we could to wait for nightfall. I thought it would be safest then. But I was wrong. See, the VC are very, very proficient night fighters. And apparently they had been tracking us all along, waiting for us to show ourselves. And they opened fire, and it was pretty tough for a while, but I guess we were fairly lucky. We managed to hold them off. And then I saw an APC, armored personnel carrier, coming towards us. And a grenade was thrown. It landed pretty near Pete, and by that time his reflexes were all shot to hell, so I didn't think about it. I just pounced on it and threw it as far as I could. And you talk about luck. It was a direct hit on an armored personnel carrier and put it out of action. But the shrapnel started flying in all directions, and I caught more than my share of it, it seems. I laid there for a few hours, I guess, and heard the sound of choppers, and it was medical help, so they picked us up and brought us to hospitals. Pete went to one, I went to another, and then I was finally sent back here to the States, and I went from one VA hospital to another, trying to patch my face up. Until finally it was decided that my condition required special attention, and I ended up here.
Jim, that was wonderful what you did. Saving your friend's life. Really, I've never met a live hero before.
I'm not a hero. They can keep all their damn medals. All I want is a face.
Well, you're going to have one soon.
Yeah, but I don't have one now. And that's very unfair to you. A woman can't love a man like this.
A face isn't the only reason one falls in love, Jim.
When I saw your face, I fell in love with you.
That must have been quite a moment for both of you.
I still don't know if he meant what he said or whether it was just a moment.
Well, how did you feel?
Well, at the time, my head was spinning and I was walking 10 feet off the ground. I had never felt like that about anybody before.
First loves are usually very special.
You're not kidding. Face Face or no face, I was in love with Jim Dietrichson. So, how did I do?
Well, if I had any gold stars, I'd give you 2.
Oh, thank you.
No, you were the most cooperative and informative person I've interviewed in a long time, and I couldn't ask for more.
Well, I guess I still feel a little bit strange, though, letting it all out.
Hillary, there isn't anything wrong in expressing human emotion.
Oh, no, but sharing that emotion with hundreds of thousands of readers sort of gives me the willies.
Oh, please, I promise it'll all be handled very discreetly.
Oh, Nancy, I'm sure of it. Really, I'm not worried. And you know, for a long time I felt very resentful of Jim for not keeping his promise and staying in touch with me.
Well, maybe there was a reason for that.
Sure. It was a summer romance and nothing more.
Well, now let's see. For the sake of speculation, what if the surgery wasn't a success?
My father was very good, Nancy.
Okay, but what if the lieutenant was disappointed and he didn't want you to see a face that you couldn't love?
That's possible, I guess. But I think I would rather believe that he just lost interest and that the surgery was successful for his sake.
Come in. Kelly, hi, darling.
Nancy. Hi, Val.
How are you?
Fine.
Good.
I'm here to take this lady to lunch.
Oh, how nice for you.
Hello, Gavin. Looks pretty empty around here.
Let's get over this, guy. I assume you're here to settle our contract.
Mm-hmm. Have you spoken to an attorney?
I don't have to. Tear it up.
Well, those are my sentences exactly, but what's it going to cost the Whitney Dance Company?
Nothing.
Do you mean that?
Look, I'm just as anxious to quit as you are to fire me, and I don't take money that I don't earn.
Well, you know, the company may be using some of those dances that you choreographed, Gavin, and you may be due some money.
Consider my contribution goodwill. Now let's just tear up that contract and pretend the whole thing never happened.
That's fine with me. Your receipt.
Excuse me, Mr. Whitney.
Yes, what is it, Gavin?
I have a couple of errands. Do you want me to go now and come back, or would you like me to wait?
No, that's all right, Gunther. I've concluded my business with Mr. Wiley. We can leave now.
I'd like to stay a minute or two longer, Mr. Whitney.
Why, Gunther?
Well, I got a couple of things to say to my pal Wiley here.
What's on your mind, ape man?
I don't like you, Wiley. I never have.
The feeling's mutual.
Well, you know, now that my boss doesn't need you to teach his dancers how to prance around the stage anymore, it might be a good time to break that other leg of yours.
Knock it off, Gunther.
There's something about kneecap shattering, you know? It's like music to my ears.
You know, Whitney, you really ought to keep your animal muzzled and leashed.
Leave it, Gunther.
No, I didn't like him when he threw the drink in my face. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Because behavior like that is very bad etiquette.
I've just concluded a business deal here, Gunther. I don't want any trouble. Besides, the man is armed, remember?
Well, I never believed that story about Twinkle Toes having a gun. A fly swatter, maybe, to keep the mosquitoes off his tutu.
The only fly swatter in here is a loaded .38 caliber pistol.
Now, you're just talking tough. I'm from Missouri, kid. Show me.
Satisfied?
What, would you look at that?
Now, I have a permit for this, and I know how to use it. Now, don't second guess me on that one, Gunther.
Oh, come on, Wiley. You got no sense of humor. I was just kidding.
I'll laugh when you're on the other side of that door.
Right. Let's go, Mr. Whitney.
Nobody ever gives me orders, Gunther. I still give the orders around here.
That's right, Mr. Whitney. Pardon me, sir. You first, sir.
do we know where the gun is? We also know what caliber it is.
Yeah, well, I guess the next step is mine, right? Well, don't worry, Mr. Whitney. The next time I see Gavin Wiley, I'll make sure he uses that little...
Gunther.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Whitney. I wasn't expecting you until later this evening.
Yeah, I came home to change. What are you all dressed up for?
Oh, just relaxing a little bit, that's all.
You look like you're relaxing. What is this?
Oh, hey, that's a little drink that, Chrissy had this pineapple that she used for dessert, and she hollowed it out so I could have a little, coconut drink. I just love coconut drinks.
A lot of rum, right?
Listen, can I get you anything, Mrs. Whitney?
Oh, sure. Why don't you get me one of those in the bathtub?
Bathtub?
Just kidding. What are you doing? Trying to get in the mood, or are you going on a vacation?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Whitney, he suggested that maybe I should take the time and take a couple of weeks. You know, I've always been crazy about the islands.
Oh, Mr. Whitney and I were going to go here on our honeymoon, but we decided not to. You know, it's done so often.
Well, not by me, Mrs. Whitney.
Mr. Whitney and I are going to go to the Alps on our second honeymoon. Isn't that wonderful?
To each his own.
Well, have a nice time.
Yes, well, thank you, Mrs. Whitney. Oh, baby, I am going on a honeymoon forever. $500,000 for one little practical joke. Miles and miles of pink-white beaches and incredibly blue sea. The sweet smells of poinsettia and whatever. Beautiful women wearing almost nothing but their suntans. Yeah, sure, Mr. Whitney. I'll let Gavin Wiley kill me if I can live like that. That's much better than coconut, honey. Okay, teach. Now it's time for you to learn the lesson.
Stay away, Gunther!
Well, you've been asking for this for a long time. From now on, baby, you're going to be doing your dance instruction from a wheelchair.
Stay away! I'm warning you, I'll use this!
Well, come on, let's get this over with. I got better things to do than to break legs. I got a hot date tonight, and guess who will?
I'll kill you, Gunther, I swear!
Is with a sweet little thing named Jody Travis, and she has been begging me for a date, and tonight is the night. Tonight is when she finds out the difference between a man and a boy, yeah. She's been begging for my attentions, and I'm going to give her everything she can take.
Get away or I'll shoot!
You haven't got the guts! You missed! You better give me that little gun before you blow your foot off. Ah! Give me my millions!
What's so funny?
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Whitney.
You sure do have a lot of fun when you're all alone.
Well, it's just a little private joke.
Huh. Well, I'll be back later.
Good night, Mrs. Whitney. Yeah, funny little joke with a $500,000 punchline.
Well, I'm sure you were very surprised when you received my invitation. It's just that I'm renewing some old friendships, and it's very important to me, especially now.
Well, why especially now?
Well, April was my nearest and dearest friend, and she's gone.
Oh, well, you don't lose friends just because they've moved away. It's... All right, I understand how you feel.
Well, I do. I feel lost without her.
It's too bad that you missed the farewell dinner that we had for her.
Yes, I couldn't go. We had a prior commitment.
Oh, I see.
But I'm glad that I could see you now, and I was hoping maybe we could arrange a dinner date for the four of us.
Oh, that would be nice. After all, I hardly know your husband.
Yes, well, I'm still discovering little things about him myself. Of course, that's why I asked you for that information a while back, remember?
Yes, about the plane crash. By the way, you never got back to me on that. Did you discuss it with Sky?
Yes, I did, and you know he really wasn't secretive about it at all. It's just that he didn't want to think about it. You know, his friend had died in the crash.
Oh, the friend, what was the friend's name?
Brown, I think. Jefferson Brown.
Yes, Jefferson Brown.
Well, the name isn't really important, you know. They weren't really close friends. It's just that Sky was the pilot, and he felt terrible about what had happened.
Raven, what did Sky tell you about Jefferson Brown?
Well, just that they had met in Switzerland. Why?
Well, did he tell you where he came from?
He was an American. Why are you so interested?
Well, you're the one who brought it up. No, did Sky happen to mention the possibility that Jefferson Brown might have lived in Washington?
Washington? I don't think so.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, then maybe I could tell you something. I don't know if he lived in Washington, but I know that he had worked in Washington for a man, Fowler Wilcox. He was an official in the State Department, apparently a very important official, according to Geraldine.
Geraldine knew him?
Mm-hmm. Only slightly. They might have gone to the same dinners and that sort of thing when she had gone with her husband on official occasions.
So Geraldine knew Jefferson Brown's employer. What a coincidence.
Oh, Geraldine knew everybody in Washington. You know that.
Geraldine is living with us now. Do you know that? From now on?
Oh, that's nice. Mm-hmm. That's lovely that she's back in that house again. And with a new family.
Mm-hmm. Are my eyes deceiving me, or is this Valerie Bryson?
Hmm? Yes, that is indeed. I did that story on Valerie and one of her father's patients, Jim Diedrichson.
This is very interesting, and she never even saw his face.
No. It is fascinating, isn't it? My editor thought so, too. People like love stories, but if there's an element of mystery in it, it makes it all the more exciting.
Do you think she was really telling the truth? I mean, I met Valerie Bryson once, and you know, she seemed the sort of girl that likes to romanticize.
No, I'm sure there's no doubt about it at all. I believe she was telling the truth.
Oh, well, I'm sure she met this patient. It's just that, well, how could there have been any romance? I mean, look at his condition.
Well, romance takes on many forms.
But his face is wrapped in bandages. I mean, they couldn't even kiss.
Well, that doesn't mean that they couldn't feel something for each other.
Well, I think it was just on her side. I mean, she was only 18. When you're 18, you know, you tend to fantasize a lot.
I don't think there's any doubt about her feelings. And as far as Jim Diedrichson is concerned, well, I don't see how he could have resisted her. I mean, she's such a pretty girl. She's a charming young lady, don't you think so?
You're an investigative reporter. Why would you want to write a trite little story like this?
Well, it's because of her father. Dr. Bryson wrote some numbers in the corner of a letter that he had left for her just before he died.
What kind of numbers?
Well, at first we thought it was a bank account, but then we discovered that they were the numbers for, you know, a patient's identity.
You mean Diedrichson?
Yes. And so we thought that the only reason he might have made these numbers known to Valerie is to indicate that possibly this Diedrichson was somewhere nearby.
That's fascinating. I'll have to finish this article. I'll buy a paper on the way home.
Oh, please, take that one.
Oh, may I?
Surely.
Yes, I think that my husband would be very interested in this article.
I can't believe you, Dee Dee. Where did you get your law degree? In a Cracker Jacks box? Where does it say that a lawyer puts a bail for his client?
Cliff, he was desperate. His mother was desperate, and there's just the two of them. His father ran out on him when he was just a kid. And she's sick most of the time, and she doesn't have any Social Security. She won't go on welfare. Marcus is their only source of income.
Yeah, he supports the family by robbing old ladies.
This was his first offense, Cliff.
This was the first time he was caught, you mean?
Oh, great. Now you sound just like Calvin.
Calvin is not always wrong, Dee Dee.
Cliff, Marcus had already been in jail for almost 2 weeks in that miserable facility out on Walton Island. I thought if he were out on bail, at least he could work until his trial.
So you, having all the money in the world, just wrote out a check for $10,000.
I did nothing of the kind. I went to a bail bondsman.
But you're responsible for that money if he runs out on you, which apparently he has. How are you going to come up with that money, huh? You can't even come up with rent.
Is that a hint, landlord?
Look, Dee Dee, suppose it was his first offense. What did he do? What did he do? Dee Dee, what was the charge?
Attempted robbery and assault.
On a woman 74 years old. And suppose she dies from that assault, huh? What do you have then? You got murder one. A good DA in this town has a very good one. Could make that stick without batting an eyelash.
So you think that Marcus skipped town to avoid trial, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
You think I made a big mistake, don't you?
I think you may spend the first 5 years of your career paying back that big mistake.
I know he's going to show up. He's got to come back.
I certainly hope so, Dee Dee. You got the name of the bail bondsman?
Here.
Oh, great! You would have to deal with him. I'll give him a call. Good night.
Thanks a lot, Cliff. I think.
Look, if you can't come up with rent this month, don't let it worry you. I'll take it out in legal advice.
Oh, great. You'd be a big loser then. Marcus, where have you been? Oh, never mind. Never mind. It's not important. The important thing is that you're back.
Only came back because I need money, lady. Can't travel without money. I got to travel.
So look, what do you say we go over to Sid's Tavern and get a bite to eat? You know, I'm actually beginning to like that place, I think. Or have you got plans?
Sounds good to me. Let me just grab his sweater, huh?
Good. Say, listen, have you had any more trouble with Gigantor lately?
You mean Gunther?
Yeah, any more collisions with him?
Well, I saw him yesterday when I went to see Whitney about Jody quitting the company, but nothing serious happened.
Huh, that's a surprise.
I promised Jody that I wouldn't, I wouldn't do anything. I'd stay away, and that's exactly what I did. About as far away as a glass of vodka can travel.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Well, he got a little hot under his collar, and I threw a drink in his face, sort of cooled us both off.
And you call that staying away from him, man? Don't you know a guy like that would rather take a punch than an insult any day?
I thought he took it pretty well.
I suppose he decides to walk in here and do something about it one day.
If he does, I'll take care of him.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
What, have you been taking judo lessons or something?
No, I bought a gun.
You what?
I bought a gun. What's wrong with that? It's the right of a free citizen to bear arms.
Are you crazy?
Hey, it's all legal. Calvin, I got a permit and everything.
Kevin, this is insane, man. Look, give me the gun. Where is it?
No, forget it. Let's go get something to eat, huh?
Wait a minute. Look, why don't you give me the gun? And I'll get your money back. Now, how's that for an offer?
What is wrong with having a gun? You're carrying one right now.
I am in the gun-carrying business. You happen to be a dance instructor.
So what? Hey, come on, don't worry about it. I already told Gunther that I have a gun, and it'll probably be enough to scare him away. Now, let's go get some chow. I think I'll have a steak. You did say you were buying.
You know, I don't really think you understand how serious this
I
is.
understand.
You don't keep weapons around. They get used, you know?
It's just for protection.
Look, man, I've got to talk to you about this gun business.
A piece of cake.